What's up everyone, my name is Zach. I just ran at the national championship about a month ago. I'm a recent All-American, first team All-American in the 800 meters. And yes, this is not clickbait. I did run that final with a broken collarbone and a torn AC joint. In this video, I really just want to walk you guys through the whole thought process and the whole national meet, what was going through my head, what was going through my head in the races. We're going to do a race recap. I'm going to commentate over the race. It's going to be good. Before I go into that, just a little background. I was on the verge of making nationals. I didn't know I was going to make nationals until 2 weeks before the race. And I was, before the 2-week mark before the race, I was ranked like about, I think like 60th in the country, whatever, and top 20 or top 22 go to nationals for each event. And the thing is about 2026 nationals this year and D2, it is the most stacked field it has ever been in recorded history. We had a couple French guys that are just like going insane, and we had two 145 guys. It's never unheard of. Osway from France, he was the favorite. He ran 145.05 at Brian Clay earlier in the year. That's absurd. There's no other way to put it. That's the D2 national record. And we got, bicarb guy who also ran 145, which is crazy too. He ran that at Arkansas. And a bunch of other guys, like it was like the two 145 guys and then a whole bunch of 147s and some 148s. It was 148.8, I think, didn't make nationals. If you didn't break 149 this year, you were not going to nationals. I've never seen that happen before. I've looked in the archives. Can't find another year that's happened. And I am lucky enough to be a part of that group. I made nationals so before that 2-week mark, my PR standing was like a 150.5. And I ran that in the beginning of the season. It was like an opener kind of race. I knew later on I was in, better fitness. Obviously at the end of the year, that's the goal. You want to be in better fitness. And I just needed a chance. So I knew it was going to be hard. I knew it was going to take something that I've never done before to even qualify for the national meet. And what made me believe that this was going to actually transpire, 2 weeks prior to the last chance meet, they call it a last chance meet because it's your last chance to qualify for nationals. It's literally the last weekend that I could have qualified. I qualified. That we had a conference meet, the Sunshine Conference meet, and I became the conference champion in the 800, the 1500, and the 5K. Only person to do that ever. And it was just an insane day. And just the combination of those three events and the way I handled it, and my performance as a whole, I just knew that I was ready. I ran at a university called Lee University in Tennessee. It's called Lee Last Chance, and I ran the 800 there, PR'd by 2 seconds. Insane race. We had the lights. I was chasing the lights, and everyone there was trying to qualify for nationals. So it was a good group of, it was a bunch of talented guys. I ended up getting second in that race. The guy who got first, believe it or not, he's from an NAIA school, but I did some, digging, and this guy ran for Oregon, I think 4 years ago, and I want to say he placed in the, I think it's the Big 12. That's what Oregon was in, or Pac-12. I sound like an idiot right now because I don't know what conference Oregon's in. No, I think it's the Big 12 or the Big 10. But I think he might have won. I think he might have won the Big whatever when he was at Oregon 4 years ago, and now he's at an NAIA school. Absurd. I think he ran 146. And that's moving back then. We barely made nationals. I was 17th. I ended up being 17th on the list. But before 2 people dropped out, I was on the verge. I was like 19th, 20th. Tied, actually tied. I was tied for 19th and 20th with a kid from Flagler. And it was crazy. It was crazy. So we flew out to Emporia, Kansas for nationals. When I went to the venue, I went to the stadium. It was a bit of a, I don't want to say I was intimidated, because I wasn't really intimidated, but you can look around and you can see the athletes that were there, and they're all like these, you know, specimens. They were specimens. Everyone there was like, okay, we're at nationals. It was pretty obvious. I thought it was cool, but initially I was like, okay, this is a little scary. But that was a couple days before my race. Now the day of the prelims, all that like anxiety, all that stuff, kind of, I don't want to say went away, because it was still there, but I was very, very confident going into the prelims. Although I was ranked last, and I think Stride Report or whatever news outlet for D2 came out with their 800 final prediction, and of course I wasn't on the list because I was, you know, so far down the list of the qualifies, or is that even a word? But I wasn't worried for one reason only, and that one reason was I felt like that my entire season I was winning against the current. I felt like I was winning in spite of a lot of things, and I felt like I made it there with less. I felt like all those kids, they got California, they got all these big meets, they had all these good opportunities, and I never had a great opportunity to run fast, in my opinion, other than Lee, and that was a good opportunity, but before that it was nada. And all those kids, they all ran their PRs in California with no wind, in the perfect weather, on like the perfect circle track that isn't even that wide. It's like the curves are just longer, it's more efficient. They all ran it there, and they all ran like, you know, 147, 148. We're all super close. I knew it wasn't going to be perfect, and I felt like I am the best at imperfection. I felt like at times where there might be some adversity in the race, things might not go my way, things won't go the way that everyone wants it to go. No one knows what's going to happen. It's championship racing, and I felt like if anyone knows how to win against the current, it's me. I just knew, I absolutely knew that if I was in the race with 100 meters to go, side by side with all these guys, and it's like, you know, we got out slower than usual, which happened, which we'll get into. Nobody can fuck with me. That's how I felt. And regardless whether or not that's true, it doesn't even matter. Because if you don't believe in these absolutes, you're just never going to win anything. At this level, if you don't believe in yourself, even that little 1%, these guys are going to eat you for lunch, and they're going to have no problem with doing it. It's going to be exposed. If you can't go in thinking like that, then you're just not cut out for this. You need to be, in some ways, delusional to reach the pinnacle at anything. So I was pretty confident, but what was the nail in the coffin for my confidence in my, you know, was when I lined up for that race, the announcer announced who I was, and he was like, in lane 2, he was the Sunshine Conference Runner of the Year. He won the individual title in the 800, the 1500, and the 5K. And he said, Zach Keller. And I was like, you know what? Hell yeah. I remember sitting on like that little triangle that they have in my lane, like lane 2. And I was like, so let's get into it. I got my laptop here. We're gonna go through this together. So immediately I got out way faster than I normally do. I don't know how I did it, but I did it. I didn't really think to do anything differently, but I did it, and this was huge.
He's the Division II record holder, 1:45.09 set this year. That's the fastest time in history of the division.
The cadre running hip number 4, so he's
Okay,
your...
so normally I'm not this aggressive, but you get me in a national championship meet, I'm going to fight for every inch. I'm going to fight for my spot. You're not going to be able to bully me around. I threw an elbow, and I've very much assertively put myself in the race. All right, so I know right here it's at this point it's going to be a little slow. I'm stuck in lane 1. There's nothing I can do. I'm just going for the ride at this point. This is a really good spot. I'm on the rail. I'm running the least distance. Doesn't matter if we come through a little slow. It doesn't matter that much because there's all these guys behind me that are at a disadvantage if we come through slow. New people are going to get Nancy. They're going to want to start going. Everyone here is really good, so they're going to be able to make these moves. I just wanted to be patient. I just wanted to be the last person to make the move because I knew people were going to overthink this. I knew like emotions are going to be high. People are going to want to make the final. They want to make the final, right? And I was like, okay, just relax. Let people make these decisions that aren't very rational and be the last guy. So 54 mid through the 4. I think I was more 54, like 8, 54, 8, yeah, for me. All right, so with like about 300 to go here, I'm trying to find an opening. At this point, I was like, okay, there's literally nowhere I can go. All right, so Gabe from Mississippi College goes on the outside there. And then you got the Pittsburgh guy, Eli, right on the outside. And okay, right here, I did not like that on that curve. That curve was not good for me. I was stuck. There's guys going around me, and there's nothing I can do about it. Top 2 move on to the final, and that's the only thing that's guaranteed. And I knew it was going to take top 2 because of our initial 400 split. These 3 ahead of me, not a good look going into 100. If I paused the race right here, my bets would be on Gabe from Mississippi College in the middle right there, or Eli from Pitt on the far left there in the pole position. I would think I'm done. I would think I'm out of this race. There's no way I'm going to be able to maneuver my way into lane 3 and then make a surge and pass all of these 147 guys. But let's see what happens here. All right, so I move out to the outside. All right, so with about 50 meters to go, I knew I was closing ground. My head is completely back. That's never going to change. But with 50 meters to go, gauging off of the distance and how like fast I'm moving versus they're moving, I knew it was going to be a lean at the line. I was ready for a lean. I made the conscious decision in my head, if I am side by side with someone, I am diving. There's no chance I'm getting out leaned. So I passed Eli with about 3 meters to go. I didn't need to dive at this point, but I did anyway, so like a dumb. But I dove. I dove for the automatic qualifier. I twisted my body because I know it's lean with your shoulder, and then if you twist, you get like an extra inch. So I dove, and then I twisted, which ended up being pretty catastrophic. So I twisted, landed like this, snapped my collarbone, was in a lot of pain there. I was laying on the track, and then the official right here, he's like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "No." I literally told him, like, "Dude, no, I'm not okay." And he's like, you can see he's holding out his arm, and I'm like, ugh. And I like can't lift up my shoulder because it's broken, right? It's broken, and I tore my AC joint too on that, believe it or not. So then my coach Lamont, the sprint coach, is right here. He comes to pick me up, grabs me by my right arm, and picks me up. And yeah, and I'm like telling him, I'm like, dude, it's broke. My right arm is broke. And then he grabs my right arm and holds it against me, and he walks me to the trainer. So then we walked to the training room. Oh my gosh, it was like such a bittersweet moment because I made the final. I was so happy I made the final, but I just broke my collarbone. And I didn't know 100% it was broken or not. I thought, okay, maybe there's a chance I'm just, sprained it or something. But I went into the training room, and there was a trainer there, and they just put ice on it. And I was asking them, I was like, is it broken? Is it broken? Just tell me if it's broken or not. And they're like doing like these, they're like tapping it. They're like, does that hurt? And I was like, well, I just fell on it. I mean, I just fell on it. And they're like, well, that's a good sign. That's a good sign. You know, you would know if it's broken. You wouldn't be asking. You would know. You'd be in a lot more pain. And I'm like there like wincing in pain. I'm like, and like my whole neck is like spasming. You can look at it and it's just moving. It's like a fish that you just caught, and you know how like the fish moves after you. I don't know. Maybe I'm just weird, and my For You page is weird, but the fish moving is what comes to mind, and like a dead thing that's still like jerking in place. Maybe not that, but you get the point. They just put ice on it. They were like, oh, yeah, just keep the ice there. Keep the ice there. And then they were just putting ice directly on my skin. And it started to burn a little bit because it's like, you don't just put ice on your skin like that. And like, you're going to get, whatever. And I took it off, and they were mad that I took it off. And I was like, dude, I need to get the hell out of here. And they just, whatever. And I left, and I'm like, you know, holding my arm weird. And I'm like, okay, I gotta cool down. I gotta go cool down. I'm thinking, I'm gonna go run and cool down right now with a broken arm. I didn't know it was broken, but, and I start like hopping, and I'm like, oh, no, this isn't happening. Like, there's no way I'm cooling down. And we get into the athlete lounge, and there's a trainer from Lenore Ryan University in Carolina came over. My old coach is there, and like their trainer, they can afford trainers there for some reason. We can't bring anyone. But I got their trainer, and they looked at me, and they were like, oh, I know what this is. You just sprained your AC joint. And she starts like touching it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that hurts. And he's like, yeah, I know. Look, it's the piano key. It's like the piano key. It's lifted up. This is what they call a sprained AC joint. And they're like showing my mom, and having my mom touch it, and it's like moving up and down. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm in so much pain. And really, they're moving up and down my broken bone. And I was like, oh yeah, it's sprained. I was like, so how long is this gonna take? Is this gonna be like a week thing, a couple of weeks? And she was like, well, I don't know you, so I can't really say. And I was like, okay, so I guess I'm like, it's fine. It's just a sprain. Like I'll figure it out and run with it. And she was like, I'm just gonna be honest. You're not gonna be able to run with this. You're gonna have to jog it in, and that's it, because you can't move your arm. And which was true. I couldn't move my arm. It was like I could move it like this, if you guys can see that, but there was no shot I was doing this. No shot like moving it up and across. Wasn't happening. I was still like, okay, if it's just a sprain, it's still possible, so I got on the spin bike and to cool down and I was on the spin bike and just, supporting myself with my arms. I just couldn't do it. I did it for like 30 seconds, and I was like, dude, there's no way. I went to dinner like after the race, and scooping up chips and salsa with my left hand. I was like I was like eating everything in my left hand, making a freaking mess. And I'm just there with a broken arm, and it just does not feel good. It does not feel good. My dad's trying to correct me. He's like moving my shoulders up because I'm like doing this, like, because I'm like protecting it, like unconsciously. And he's like trying to move me back in place, and it just hurts so bad. I couldn't sleep that night. That night I couldn't sleep because it hurt too bad. It was pretty miserable. I was taking a lot of anti-inflammatories, and I don't normally take anti-inflammatories. I don't want to touch it. Don't like it, but there's application for it, of course, and this was one of those times. I'm going to line up tomorrow. I need to line up because I got at least 8th in the nation for, nationals. And if you get 8th, you're an All-American. That's how it works. And you get a trophy, you do all this stuff, you get a ceremony. If I didn't line up, if I was like, okay, we're done, like I didn't show up, I wouldn't get it. So I was gonna go. I was going to go. I was going to line up, and I was calling everyone. I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna jog this. I'm just gonna wave to the crowd. It's gonna be fine. I'm gonna get the petty claps. Like, I hate the petty claps, but I'm gonna get them, and it's gonna be whatever. They were like, oh, you don't need to run with your shoulder. What are you talking about? Everyone said this. Literally everyone said this, and they're like, oh, how bad is it? And I would like test it, and I would like just try to like lift it as like with like everything that I got, and I was like, I don't know, this isn't happening. And then I really believed I wasn't running the race. Like fully, wasn't gonna try go out there and just like freaking run. And it wasn't about until 3 hours before the race. It was like I was possessed. I start pacing back and forth in the hotel room. You know what? I'm gonna win anyways. I'm gonna win anyways. That's what I was, and it's the craziest thing ever. And I'm like in the mirror, and I'm like doing this. I'm like trying to sway my body, and I'm like using gravity to move up my shoulder. And I'm like, you know what? It hurts like hell, but it's possible. If it's possible, I'm gonna try to do it. Did everything I would normally do to get ready. I got ready, had my Chipotle 5 hours before, and drove up. At this point, people all thought I was just gonna, jog it in, but I knew that like we're going for it. So they put a little KT tape on it, a little makeshift clavicle. Warmed up, I ran. It hurt so bad. Every like stomp, it was like, you guys can imagine. I had to get someone to put on my stuff for me and tie my shoes and all that, because there was no moving my arm. We laced him up. We laced him up, and I guess we'll get into that. I don't want to rewatch this. It's not a very happy, this is a cool freaking race, but we'll watch the final. So right off the bat, it was pretty much muscle memory. I forgot about my shoulder, and I, full on swung it forward, and I don't want to reimagine how that felt, but it happened. So
this is the men's 800 on the track. Josue Lecadre, defending champion, the indoor champion. So
see, I get out pretty freaking hard. I cut out hard with a broken shoulder. And you see, I'm like swinging it still. I'm actually shocked that I was able to do this.
A lot of new faces out here.
All right, I'm sitting there. I'm still in the race at this point,
but unable to advance to the finals. That's the price you pay when you have to run rounds. Some athletes are going to think that they will not run the preliminaries.
Okay, I knew it was over at this point. I wasn't. When you break your shoulder, it might look like I'm running normally, but I am not moving my arms as violently as I should and with as much force. You compensate. So your body's all connected, and if you're not able to utilize, you're gonna overutilize everything else. I did not feel good running that fast. Let's just say that it did not feel great. 400 meters in, I was like, I'm cooked. It's over. We're just gonna run it in now, and I was pretty much out of frame the rest of the way. And you can watch the rest of it.
The two runners from Indianapolis, both juniors, they move out to the lead.
Those Indianapolis kids,
200 meters to go, and there you see
to the Frenchman.
Surging to the front. Again, he is the indoor champion. He is
out of everyone in this race, the only two Americans are me and the Missouri kid. I think that's Missouri. Bicarb guy.
We're going to come down this stretch. And it doesn't look like anybody is going to challenge him. Josue Lecadre of Indianapolis.
Josue wins his third national championship in a row. His teammates there in second.
Yanis Levolier will be
second.
He'll
somewhere
run a
back
personal
there.
best
I ran 159.
147.10. Riley Witt of Northwest Missouri is going to be 147.4.
So yeah.
And
That's
you
it,
see
guys.
there-
So all this happened, and then we flew home. And right when I got home, I drove to the ER and got an X-ray, and we found out it was broken. And when I went, and the doctor was like, we got to get you in surgery like as soon as possible because you're risking deformity. The bone is not in place. It's like sunken in your shoulder. It's gonna grow weird, and it had me freaking out for a little bit. We ended up getting the surgery, and they had to reconstruct a ligament, and recovering very well. I'm able to move my arm, and everything's going great. So thanks for everyone for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.